What's going on, car family? I'm Ben Wayne. Thank you for joining me in another video. Today we are testing out the 2022 Hyundai Elantra N-Line. So this is the N-Line variant of the Elantra, not the full-on N, but the N-Line. So what this essentially is a vehicle that would be a great starter vehicle for someone who's just getting into the market, or another vehicle for someone who spent all their money on a high performance vehicle like a T5i Blackwing and doesn't want to drive that car every day. So this is coming in at an extremely reasonable price point, which is something we haven't had on the channel in a while. So base price for this one is around $25,800 as shown. This is just a little over $26,000, so it's quite the affordable vehicle. Now, before we get into the design, I want to talk to you about the benefits that are coming with this vehicle, such as the 5-year bumper-to-bumper new car warranty. You also have a 10-year powertrain warranty, 10-year, 100,000 miles, whichever comes first. And then you have 3 years of free complimentary maintenance, and then 5 years of roadside assistance that comes included with this as well. So that's a lot to take in. When you look at the price point, you're covered in case anything goes wrong. And then, of course, it gives you complete peace of mind if you're buying this for your first vehicle. So that's something to consider. Now, talking about the styling a little bit, this car features quite a bit of angles. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Some people might like it, some people may be okay with it. It's in that price point, in that bracket, where this isn't a car that's just designed specifically for car people. This is an economy car, something you go to purchase to drive back and forth to work, or something that you want good gas mileage on, something that won't be too much of an expense. So design wise, car people aren't really going to be focused on that here. Now, it does have a ton of angles. Like I said, up front you do have LED daytime running lamps with projector headlamps as well. You have an N-line front fascia with black accents. I think that breaks up the red quite a bit. Now, underneath the hood, what you're getting is a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged power plant. That's going to put out about 201 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque, and that's connected to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. So your 0 to 60 times are going to be around, the 7-second range, around 7.1 seconds or so. So it's not the fastest thing out, but it gets the job done specifically for its price point as well. So I'll floor it now, and it does pick up. It has some get up and go there, and that's decent enough for anybody who's looking to get into just a commuter car, or something that's their first car, something that's affordable. So as far as the power, I don't feel like it's lacking. It's adequate enough for the average person. Now, coming over to the side profile, we do have gloss black accents around the window surrounds and side view mirrors, which provide a nice sporty look to it. Looks great with the 18-inch wheels that this vehicle comes optioned with as well. Now, behind the front wheels sits 12-inch rotors up front for decent stopping power. Again, this is the N-Line variant, so you're going to see a little bit of upgrades when compared to the base model as well. But overall, the side profile of the vehicle, it's a typical sedan. It does have some unique lines on the side profile. There's some lines going upwards diagonally across the car, which kind of makes it look almost a little bit like it was inspired by an origami. So that's interesting. Coming towards the rear, you have LED everything. So you have LED tail lamps, of course, and then that roof line comes down into the trunk lid, which is typical of what you find on Hyundai sedans. You do have an N-line rear fascia as well, so it's going to look a little bit more sporty than the basic Elantra. Now, I mentioned this vehicle is something that is extremely efficient when it comes to the price point. This will be a cost-effective vehicle to purchase. I got to talk to you guys about the fuel economy. So the fuel economy for the city is about 28 miles per gallon. Highway, you're looking at 36 miles per gallon. I've had this vehicle for about a week, and I've driven it quite a bit, and I haven't even hit half a tank. I have a ways to go on that. So that's something that, if you have a daily commute, if you're not working from home, you have a daily commute, that is a major plus, especially with the fuel prices that you're getting these days now, that are just absolutely outrageous. Now, as far as usability is concerned, Looking at that cargo capacity, you're looking at about 14.2 cubic feet of storage, which is average for a sedan in this range. So the practicality is there, right? In terms of the power, the fuel efficiency, the cargo capacity, and then of course 4 doors. This is a sedan, you can seat 4 people. So let's make our way to the interior and the ride quality. So I've had this car for quite a bit. Again, I've had it for about a week. The overall interior ride is fairly smooth. Now I will say that there's a little bit of road noise that gets in here. It's not the quietest ride that I've ever had, but it's also not the loudest. So with that being said, I would give it average ratings there. It's not something that you would ever notice unless you're somebody who's purposely listening out for road noise. It's not too loud. If you want to have a conversation in here, you can without screaming. Let me floor it. So the acceleration is definitely there. And just like that, we're up to 60. So it's not a slouch. It delivers. Now, the seats are okay. These are finished in cloth. They do feature 3 levels of heating. They're comfortable enough for you to take a long road trip in if you want to get this as a road trip vehicle as well. Now, the seats do feature, since it's the N-Line spec, they're done in black cloth and do feature contrast red stitching throughout, and of course, do feature the N stitched into the back of the seats as well. Now, I will say it's starting to heat up a lot in Georgia. And in terms of absorbing the heat, the cloth seats aren't bad. Once you kick on the AC, I notice they cool down fairly rapidly. So it's not going to be some scorching hot leather in this vehicle, which could be another plus depending on who you ask. At the top of the dash, done in injection molded material, it does feature an 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system, wireless Apple CarPlay, and wireless Android Auto. I like to see that. I am done plugging up my phone to the car to get Apple CarPlay. That's so annoying. So we've got the wireless Apple CarPlay going. That's a nice feature as well. The infotainment touchscreen is nice and responsive as you would expect. It's lightning fast, just like a smartphone. So I like that as well. Coming further down, you do have air conditioning vents, controls for your hazard, and physical controls for your air conditioning system as well. And I will point out that you do have a good use of physical buttons on the infotainment screen on either side as well. So you do have a volume knob. Not everything is just forcing you to use the touchscreen, and I think that's amazing. A lot of people might call that a small feature, but if you have ever test driven a car where everything is on the touchscreen, it's quite distracting, and it's also really not the safest thing. I've tested, like the new S-Class, everything on that is on the touchscreen. It is too focused on, overuse of the touchscreen, and that's not something that you will encounter in this vehicle. Door panels themselves are done in the injection molded material, also feature that black cloth material with red contrast stitching as well. Of course, you have controls for all your windows, and your door handles are done in silver. Now, when it comes to rear seating, you do have a decent amount of space for a mid-size sedan. So again, that's more than adequate. You can seat 5 people comfortably in here, maybe 4 people, and squeeze somebody in the middle of the rear seat to get that usability out of this vehicle. Now, since this does have an all black interior, I do like how they did throw in the sunroof in here. Of course, it opens and closes like you would expect. I'm not going to demonstrate that because I have my GoPro attached to it, but the sunroof does do a good job of letting that light into this dark interior. That's one thing about vehicles with a dark interior for me personally. There has to be some natural light coming in via the form of a panoramic roof or a sunroof. Overall, the handling in this vehicle, it's pretty smooth. I do like the way it handles. It's extremely comfortable. The dual clutch transmission isn't jerky whatsoever. It's nice and smooth. Transition into the throttle there. And then I hit the brakes. The brakes are nice and responsive as well. I really like that. It's amazing how much better a sedan from today handles than a sedan from, let's say 10, 15 years ago. It feels sporty, and it goes right where you want it to go. It gives you a sense of confidence that you weren't getting in sedans of yesteryear, if that makes any sense. Let me give this biker some space here. Now, in terms of safety features, this vehicle does feature rear cross traffic assist. So when you're backing out of your driveway and you have a neighbor blasting through your neighborhood, it's going to alert you of that. It does feature the lane follow assist. There's a button here on the steering wheel. You just press that and it kind of guides the car within the lanes. Of course, you can't just let go fully, but it does help with that. You also have blind spot monitoring. So all the safety features that you could want in a vehicle of this caliber are present. So like I said, if you have a teenager or a new driver or even somebody who already has a nice car that they don't want to put a whole bunch of miles on, this vehicle does feature all those safety features that you would want to be in a vehicle to fill that slot. And it does have enough get up and go, so that way when you're trying to cut into traffic or merge into the highway, you're not worried about not being able to keep up with the pace of traffic. So in terms of styling, it looks a little wonky. It might not be for everybody, but the practicality is definitely there, and this is definitely a great first car for people to look at. In terms of the interior, the overall layout is nice. I'm really digging the 8-inch touchscreen display system, the gear selector done in black leather with the red accents, and of course you have 2 cup holders here, some storage behind the center console here as well. Everything feels nice in this vehicle. The steering wheel feels good in your hands. It's also done in the black leather with the red contrast stitching. The buttons on the steering wheel themselves, they're not overwhelming. You know exactly what everything is supposed to do. Behind the steering wheel, you do have the traditional gauge. No fancy thin film transistor display. That would have been cool to see. But this particular model does feature the analog gauges, which are nice and easy to read. A nice change in pace from being forced to take all this technology in if you like the old school gauges. So that's my thoughts on the Elantra N-Line. You guys let me know in the comment section what you think about this vehicle. Is this something that you would consider for a first car? Do you know somebody who could just use a practical vehicle? Cars are getting expensive these days. I just named all those features and this is under $27,000, right? So I think there's something to be said about still having affordable vehicles on the market. And plus, you have all those features I mentioned. 5-year bumper-to-bumper warranty, 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, 3 years of complimentary maintenance. The fuel economy is insane. So those are all factors to consider when you're looking at a car like this one. So again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until next time, I'm Ben Wayne, the automotive reviewer that YouTube deserves.